Hey Crafty fam, it's Alex Vanover. Welcome back to my craft room. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to make this super cute DIY pumpkin banner. So let's get started. So the first step to making your banner is finding an image. So I'm actually gonna go into my Cricut Design Space images and find one there. So I'm gonna search for pumpkin border, because that is a super cute file that I have found in Cricut. And again, I am a Cricut Access subscriber, so that's where I got this file from. But if you are not a Cricut Access subscriber, I will link a similar one in the description that I considered using from Design Bundles. So as you can see, there are 3 different kinds of pumpkins here, and I basically just want to use these 2. So I'm going to start ungrouping these guys so that I can get them by themselves. But when you get them down to this section where they're ungrouped, you can see that the 2 of them are attached together. So I'm going to delete these all together. And then I'm actually going to go, once I select the larger pumpkins, and I'm going to go into the contour function, and I'm going to go over and grab the second pumpkin and click it to remove the contour. So when I go back to the regular screen, there's just one. So if you guys are not familiar with the contour function, you definitely want to learn how to use that because it is super useful when designing in Design Space. So now that I have these 2 prepared the way that I want them, I'm going to set them up for my banner. So for this pumpkin, I'm going to actually make this one 4.5 inches wide. So that's going to make it about the same height or so. And so you definitely want to take a look at the space where you're making your banner and decide what's going to work best for that space. I took a look at mine and I already cut the string to the length that I want my banner to be. And that helps me visualize what size I wanted my pumpkins. So I highly recommend doing a few test cuts and kind of seeing what you like in the space you're going to put this banner. And since this is a taller pumpkin, I'm going to make this one just 4 inches wide, but it's going to be quite a bit taller than this pumpkin. And then my plan is to alternate these on my banner with wood beads in between. So I'm also going to make these the same color because I'm going to cut them out of different patterns of paper, but I'm going to cut both pumpkins on the same paper just to save paper and make sure that I'm using my whole sheet wisely. So the last piece that I need to do is I like to add my holes into my shapes within Cricut Design Space because I think if I'm going to cut the banner and do all that kind of stuff in here, I'd like to have the holes already ready to go. So in order to do that, I'm going to go into my Shapes panel and select a circle. And I'm going to make that circle 0.15 inches wide. So it's really pretty tiny, but I tested this with the string that I'm going to be using and it works perfectly. So I'm going to grab this little circle and I'm going to put 2 holes in my stem. So I'm just placing it where I think it's going to look good. And you really don't need a whole lot of slack here. So you don't need to worry about having a huge hole. I like for the holes to be pretty subtle in my banners. So that's why I keep them kind of as small as possible. So I have this one selected. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select the other one. Then I'm going to go to Align and center these vertically. So that way they are directly across from each other and I'm going to attach them. And so instead of doing another separate set over here, I'm just going to duplicate that other set and use it on my bigger pumpkin. Oops, I'm scooting all my pieces around there. So I'm going to scoot these over to my other pumpkin. I'm going to get this situated back where I want it. And you want to make sure that you have a little bit of room around these holes. You don't want them to maybe be quite this close together just because the paper can rip if you are, when you're stringing them up. So maybe I'll move them down a little bit more so that I can widen them a little bit. Just like that. And then I'll select them both again and use the Align tool. There we go. So I'll click Attach, and then I will draw a box around everything and select Attach, and that will cut the circles out of my pumpkin just fine. So then I'll go over here. I'm going to detach these and widen these a little bit as well. There we go. I might scoot this in just a hair and give myself a little bit more space there. There we go. So I'll select both and they look pretty good. So I'm going to attach the two of them, draw a box around the whole thing and attach it again. So now I've got two different pumpkins with my holes already punched. So I'm going to be making multiple cuts, but instead of duplicating this a bunch of times, I'm going to go over to the Make It screen and I'm going to use the Project Copies tool up top instead. And so I'm not exactly sure how many pumpkins I'm going to need, but let's see how many mats it takes to cut 10 pumpkins of each. So if you use the project copies, this is a way easier way to do this, and it's going to line it up and show me how many different mats it's going to take for me to cut this whole project. So far it looks like it's going to take about 2.5 mats to cut each one, and actually I think that's going to work perfectly since I'm going to alternate my wide pumpkins and my tall pumpkins. So I'm going to leave this here and I'll cut it out of 5 different pieces of pattern paper, and then we will alternate everything over on the string. So when I go to the continue screen, I'm going to be using the medium cardstock cut setting on my paper because I did a test cut and that's what works perfectly for me. My paper is about 80 pounds or so, so the medium cardstock is just perfect. But make sure with whatever paper you're going to use, as always, do a test cut before you get started so that you know what setting to use and you don't waste a bunch of paper, especially because I bought special pattern paper for this project specifically. I really don't want to mess it up and lose a bunch of my paper. So I picked a piece that I knew I wasn't going to use and did my test cut. So now that I have everything all set up, let's hop over to my machine and I'll show you what it looks like to cut all these out. So before I use this paper pack, I had to show you guys how cute this is in case you want to grab this for yourself. This is a Cartabella Paper Company paper pack from Amazon that I will totally link in the description for you. But if you guys are becoming paper addicts like me, I was not always a paper addict, but I am definitely addicted to paper now. I am obsessed with some of these fall patterns. They are so cute. These are all the ones that I'm not even using on this project. And look at all these amazing stickers that come with it too. So I'll link the whole pack in the description in case you guys want to check it out yourself. And I'm using my 5 favorite patterns on this project. So next it's time to get to stringing your banner. So I bought these wood beads off Amazon and they come in a variety of different sizes and things like that because this is what I'm going to use to space between each pumpkin because I just thought it would give some of that kind of rustic charm to my banner. I'm also going to be using like this black cord that I bought from Amazon. I love this for banners. That's originally what I bought it for anyway. It's super thin, it doesn't fray, and it's just really, really easy to use. It's going to really blend well into my decor. And something that I did before I got on camera was I actually measured approximately the space that I'm going to be putting this banner. And I knotted the one side to make sure that I end up with enough string on this side left so that I can tie it around the hooks. I'm going to be putting this banner underneath my mantle and I have hooks already underneath there. So I just loosely knotted this so that A, it's easier to string my stuff on it, and B, I leave myself enough space to tie a knot at the end or tie it around the hooks or however I decide to do that. So you might want to measure, the string length that you're going to need so that you can see as you're building your banner how tightly you want to space things and all that good stuff. So now I'm just going to alternate the different pumpkins and with different beads in between every single pumpkin, and we'll see what it looks like when I'm finished. And I am going to string things around the front of my banner. That's one of the reasons why I like putting my holes so close together, is so that I can string this super easily. The string fits through no problem, and it's still going to hold really, really well. Because again, if your holes are too close together or they're too close to the edges of the paper, they may end up ripping as you're stringing. So be careful with your hole placement and be nice and gentle as you string your banner so you don't rip your paper. Another thing I love about this paper is that it is double-sided, so on some of these, if I decide there's not enough variety with the pattern, I can use the other side if I want to. Alrighty guys, and there you have your banner. So let's go set it up and see what it looks like. If we haven't already connected on social media, I would love to see your pumpkin banners and anything else that you've made using my tutorials. So if you're on Instagram, you can always use the hashtag DIYAlex, and you can connect with me at DIYAlexVanover on most major social platforms. I will also put links in the description in case you want to get in touch with me using a direct link, because it's super easy. So please make sure to tag me in your posts or reach out if you have any questions, because I love meeting you guys. And leave a comment below if you enjoyed this tutorial, because I would love to know if you guys would like to see more super easy DIY projects just like this one. And if you haven't already, please click right here to subscribe to the DIY Alex YouTube channel. Scroll down just a little bit and ring the bell right next to subscribe so you never miss when I post a new video, Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope we can craft again soon.